Hi, this is Warren Haynes of Gov'T Mule, and you're watching Rocknlive. I enjoyed it very much. The audience was great. I thought it was a very special night. I use, I guess, a fair amount of effects. Not a lot, but we play 3 hours. The show is 3 hours long, so over the course of 3 hours, I might try a few different effects. Searching for a reason to go astray. Wild dreams turn to nightmares. Silver clouds turn to golden. Well, all my solos are improvised, and so usually I just if I get an idea for an effect at the time during the moment, I will engage the effect as it's being recorded. Very seldom do I add anything after. It usually is as it's being played live. Everything that you used to know is slipping away. I guess in some ways each set is kind of designed to be its own performance. We play a different show every night. The set list changes for every night. So we try and make it different. So last night was completely different than 1 year ago when we played here. And when we play tomorrow night in Zurich, it will be completely different from Paris. It's something we do for ourselves to keep excited about the music, and also for the audience so they can keep coming and hear something different. I've got my puzzle piece, only got it for a short-term lease. No time for asking, no going back to get hurt. I'm taking a little from the mixture. We started the process not this past February, but the February before that. We got together and started writing songs and making some demos, and the process came together very quickly, so we decided that 3 of the demos that we recorded we actually liked very much, and we decided to use them for the record. So after that we went into the studio, started writing more songs, rehearsing, and then immediately into the recording studio to continue the process of recording Shout, which would have come out much sooner, except we suddenly got the idea to make it this 2 CD crazy package with a bonus CD with all the guest vocalists. That's the reason the record is called Shout, because we felt like we're paying tribute to great rock and roll singers, and so basically the concept for Shout is disc 1 is Gov'T Mule only, and disc 2 is alternate versions of the same songs with a different guest vocalist on each song. So it's Ben Harper, Glenn Hughes, Grace Potter, Jim James from My Morning Jacket, Toots Hibbert from Toots and the Maytals, Dave Matthews, Miles Kennedy, Steve Winwood, Elvis Costello. I know I'm missing someone. All amazing singers that we were fortunate enough to bring into the studio to record these alternate versions. And once we decided to do that, we had to delay the release of the record to take the time to work with all the different vocalists. But it's a unique concept. I don't think anyone's ever done exactly this, and it offers the listener two different versions of the same songs, which means two different interpretations, because each vocalist had their own interpretation of the song. And it was such an honor for us to hear all these wonderful singers singing our music. We're very excited to take all this new music on the road, and hopefully have some of the guests join us on the stage, and it's a very exciting concept.
Try to put it into the picture. Got a place where you're standing, dig your shoes into the dirt, trying hard to get back, running on this song.
At first, the idea of working with Toots Hibbert from Toots and the Maytals, and with Elvis Costello and with Dr. John, those were the first three singers that we talked about adding into the mix. But initially they were just going to be for little cameo appearances, but it seemed like a waste to have amazing singers like that just do a cameo. So once we got the idea of having them sing the whole song, then I just made a list of who other than myself I would like to hear sing each song. And so once the list was compiled, started making phone calls and seeing about people's schedules, and it just really kind of took off from there.
Put you on my shoulders, we can be the only one. See the world still spinning round, getting dizzy when we love.
I think the diversity of the record reflects what Gov't Mule is and what you'll expect if you come to a live concert. The live concerts are 3 hours long, but we cover a lot of ground stylistically. You know, we're a rock and roll band that's influenced by blues and jazz and folk music and reggae music and psychedelic music and soul music, and you get little glimpses of that throughout the live performance, and you also get little glimpses of that throughout the studio record. I think this record showcases more of our influences than any record we've done so far, but at the same time manages to sound like Gov't Mule and not sound like a hodgepodge of music. It all seems to work together as a concept, and I'm very proud of the way it came about. We got very lucky in the way that each new song we recorded took on its own personality and sounded different than the one before, but still felt like it belonged.
There's a reason to be home, there's a feeling when you smile, but it feels like it might take over, this feeling deep inside.
We usually use vintage recording equipment and as much vintage gear as possible. We prefer the sound of the old instruments, and we prefer the sound of analog tape as opposed to digital. So we'll record everything to analog, and then in the final analogy, kind of bounce everything over to Pro Tools and do editing, and then it's kind of the best of both worlds in that way, because you get the sound of the old school. As an example, the song "Bring On the Music," which we recorded, and then the alternate version we recorded with Ty Taylor from Vintage Trouble. That song was recorded to a 16-track tape machine that's very, very old, and it has that kind of sound when you listen back to it. We had written that song in honor of the breakup of the band Free. It was the 40th anniversary of the band Free, and so we wanted it to be paying tribute to that sound, and that was the best way we knew to do that. Everything is traditional, you know, guitar, bass, drums, organ, clavinet, Wurlitzer piano, and the band records very much in a live in the studio environment, so we're all playing together at the same time, so we can achieve the interplay and call and response all together, as opposed to one instrument at a time. We take a very improvisational approach to all our music, even like a jazz philosophy to rock music, where no one really knows what they're going to play until they hear what someone else is playing. So it's very much like a conversation, and we prefer to approach music that way, and the music that we listen to is approached that way.
There's a distance down the line, far away from the station, we can leave it all behind on a rolling creation, set away from the winter, oh, and lock the door.
It's been very exciting to watch our audience grow in France and in Paris, because when we first came here a few years ago, we didn't know what to expect, and we want to continue coming back and spreading the music.
On the banks of the deep end, where I lost my best friend, searching for a reason to go.